Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence, and today we're going to take a look at the Four Horsemen Figura Obscura, the Mask of the Red Death. This is the retailer appreciation figure, so you can only get this at authorized retailers, whether it be online or in actually in a shop, an actual brick and mortar store. So we're going to take a look at this figure. I am excited to get it. On the back, it does tell you a little bit about it. It is from an Edgar Allan Poe book, poem, whatever it is. I don't know. But I'm here to look at the figure. I'm here to look at what he comes with. And I'm excited to get this guy open. And I did read a little bit more than I did with the Jacob Marley till afterwards. But anyway, here we can look at it. You can see that this is basically death. On the side, we have his clock. And then we have the little story of him. Okay, like all these are magnetized boxes, so this whole piece does come off, and it can be used as a backdrop. Now, quickly, this is kind of like a masquerade ball here, and you can kind of see all these characters. And I love the different colors because it's really giving you a nice background if this is what you're going to use to display your clock. Now, quickly, we'll take a look at this, and I'd be lying if I didn't say one of my main reasons I wanted this was for the grandfather clock. And it comes with an action figure. But anyway, there he is. All right, the Mask of the Red Death. This is, like I said, the second version. There shouldn't be another version. Whether they'll do the clock again, I don't know. But I got it here because I really did want it. Here we have just a little bit more artwork here. And on the back, we have the castle that I believe that he was in. So anyway, let's take a look at this. Get this thing open. I'm excited to look at it. See how everything is. I know people have already done this on the first version, but this is the second version, the repaint. So maybe you're excited. Maybe you didn't get the other one. It's time to get this. But before we do, if you like this type of content, please take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop a Four Horsemen Studios figure. Now let's get to this. Okay, so we got this thing out, and we'll start with, it does come with the book, The Mask of the Red Death, and it obviously does give you a nice little backstory about this. Original text by Edgar Allan Poe, so there you go. If you really want to know what's going on, and you get this figure, you can read all about it, which I think is really cool. It is really nice that they do stuff like this. The Four Horsemen, in all honesty, with the lack of articulation, the lack of articulation that you might get, everything is made up with the presentation and everything else. So, as you can see, here's the backdrop. So if you wanted to use this rather than the other magnetic part that I showed you right here, you can. And I brought up this red 3D printed brick so I could put with the grandfather clock. As you can see how big this is, the grandfather clock is going to be too tall when it's all said. But if you want to use this, again, it just slides right back in to the box. And I'm showing you how to slide this in like you're not smart enough to do that. Some of you might not be. All right, let's look at the accessories that he does come with. So first off, this is not a stand, but this is a big blood splatter. And it has 4 holes here, and it's for the base of the grandfather clock. Now, I will let you get away with using this as a stand, using the pegs for that. You know how I feel about stands. Anyway, obviously there's going to be blood, and this is actually pretty cool if you have the Operation Monster Force with Dracula's blood. All right, so we do have some hands that we can look at. So he comes with a couple gloved hands, all right, but they are fingerless, so you can see the nasty fingers of this death, Red Death, I guess as you want to call him. He has a thumb wrestling hand that's gloved. Another one, I guess it's a different one, more or less for holding swords. Here we have an open hand, okay, or a non-gloved hand. Matter of fact, looking at him here, maybe it's not a gloved hand. I take that back, it's not a gloved hand, it's just the actual, maybe it's his death hand. So it's all black because you can see that's not a glove. So just ignore what I said there. Here we have the red hand with some nice black fingernails. So this guy is, again, he's death. We got this really small blade that if you read the back, I believe this is what they try and kill him with. Spoilers. Nice handle. Paint is nice, as we've always talked about. I love the fact that this is obviously silver. They just make it really look good. Again, 2 different paint apps on this, but the detail on it is real nice. And of course, it has a nice little sheen to it. Now we get to the grandfather clock, and I think this is the thing that everyone is really, really interested in. So we do have this base, all right, and it has these nice feet on it. Painted and weathered in a gold around the black. You got the 4 pegs for the actual grandfather clock. And we'll look at this before we put it all together there. So there we have, I would assume, is maybe the devil himself. It looks like a horned character, almost like a mix of God and maybe the devil. The detail there in the paint is really nice. All right, and as you can see, it just kind of goes down. Here we have a nice plastic, which is supposed to be the glass, which you can see your reflection in it. And all this is painted exactly the way you would see a grandfather clock. All right, all the way up to the top. And as you can see, it is striking midnight or maybe noon. I guess it all depends. This does come off. And it would have been really cool if these moved back and forth, especially considering if you watch my Jacob Marley video, you know they have the chains that move around. But these do not move, rather than just to kind of move back. You can't change the time. That would have been pretty cool. And then at the top, it looks like the planet Earth. Would they even know that it's round back then? When did they find that it's round? 1800s? But there you go. Oh, I mean, maybe you're a flat earther and you don't think it's round, but it is. All right. So we're going to kind of plug this thing right back on it. And I had to show you this because I'm not really sure how well it's even going to show up. So this thing just plugs right on in. Again, I don't think this is too... So there's the front and the back. All right. Smaller pegs, larger pegs. I wonder if there's a reason for it to be that way. All right. And then on the top, we have this crow's. And the detail on the crow is really nice here. See if I can bring the light in a little bit better. I don't think it matters. But there's detail all the way around. So they don't skip out on the back, which is good. You can see how it's going to plug in. And on the top, we just have the top of what would be the grandfather clock. But I love the eyes. This is really nice. There we go. It's only meant to go in one way. They actually idiot-proofed the keys, so no one can put it on backwards, which probably means someone has done it before. I'm sorry. So, look how far back I got to put this thing. I guess I could raise this up a little bit. So there you go. That is your clock. And then if you want to put the blood on it, again, the blood is only supposed to go one way. Though they keyed it the same. All right. So of course we're going to put the blood splatter on it. And the funny thing is, I did bring up this red brick here so I could put it up against it, and shockingly it's too tall, so it's going to be real interesting to get pictures to using this. All right, now let's take a look at this figure. All right. Now, I don't know. I've never seen them do this before, but they did put a plastic piece over this. Now, I have a feeling that might have to do with they didn't want the mask to fall off. That was the big deal when the figure first came out. They were, people were trying to be surprised. Like, they didn't want it to be released on who it is. Now, I'm going to show you exactly what his face looks like once we get to that, which will be right about now. So he is wearing this blood-splattered mask, all right? Which obviously has some detail up there. This is a really weird look because you can clearly see it looks like he has a different chin. I'm not sure if that's all part of the mask. All right, but let's take this thing off and ruin the surprise right away. And oh, that is disgusting. So it looks like it is pretty much the inside of what would be someone's skull, just completely obliterated. Look at the teeth and look how good that looks. All right, I think they did a wonderful job there. It looks kind of weird here because he has a big hole there, where you obviously have to keep that mask on some way, and they don't give you anything else that I see. But the blood, the beat up head, again, it does look extremely nice. And he can look up like that. All right, so now let's take a look at this guy. And he has all this nice soft goods. Now, I have not taken this thing off. I know people have taken the robe off, and we will get around to it because we're reviewing a figure and we want to take a look at everything. So now, can he move his arms? Well, again, I have not heated this up. He can get this hand up or that arm up, but I feel like you can only go so far with this because this piece, this robe, is really obstructing it. So let's take the robe off here. Let's put his mask back on him, as it is a real interesting look, to be 100% honest there. All right. So the robe, how does the robe come off? So this comes off this way. It is attached, so I don't want to rip that. He does have a wire in here. All right. I don't think you're going to pull off anything. This thing's going to be really fun to put back together. I'm just going to slide the robe down. I don't think it should be that difficult. Or maybe I should slide it up and over. Maybe that would be easier. All right, well, if you're wondering, if you've never noticed, if you never watched my channel before and you're like, why are you doing it like this? Well, I like to show people exactly what they're going to be getting into when they first get a figure. And this is what you're going to be dealing with. All right, so we can kind of take the robe off this way. And now he still has this piece on. So I don't really think they expect you to take this off. But I can't get a lot of mobility out of this guy unless if I do. So, and I don't want to take the arms off. But they do paint everything underneath, so at some point it's meant to come off. I'm going to pop that head off. He is super tight. And I am going to definitely heat this figure up once we get this off here. Because like I said, I like to actually soak mine. Oh boy, this guy's going to be so fun to get back together. But I will say this, hit this guy with a blow dryer. I would not do a heat gun. I would probably do a blow dryer so you don't risk breaking him. And as you can see, I'm already kind of in a bad predicament here, because I really think those arms need to come off to make this pop off or slide off better. I know there's probably people that are big into the Four Horsemen yelling and screaming at me. So, well, there went his arm. So what I am going to do is, man, this should be really easier. I'm not going to lie. This is the type of stuff that is kind of frustrating. He is super, super tight. And that is why I do want to soak him in hot water. But of course, you can't do that with all of this garb on. So, unfortunately, he's not that easy to get this stuff off of. I'm sure we still can. But to get him back on, I will definitely be popping off the arms. Wow. Alright, well, I guess we're going to the blow dryer method. So I'm going to stop this, hit him with the blow dryer, get these arms off him, because I really don't want you guys to sit here any longer. And I'm sure some of you are yelling at this video, but I want you to understand that this is what a lot of people will be experiencing the first time. And this guy is so tight right now, and he's not cold, so it's not like he's right out of the cold. Alright, so after some heating up and moving him around, his waist came off really easy. His arms I really had to struggle with. Alright, now some people are saying, why are we even doing that? He's not supposed to come apart. But again, when you look at Mythic Legions, Four Horsemen stuff, they're meant to be swappable. They're meant to be customizable. So I'm going to quickly take a look at the detail of this guy in his chest. I'm not going to put his arms on him because I want to put him back together. And once I put him back on, I'll probably have to heat him up again. He's just going to be a pain. So you can see the chest cavity. You can see those ribs just kind of puncturing right through here. It does look really nice and detailed. Look at his spine that's just kind of popping up, and you have this nice red wash. He is wearing a loincloth. All right, so they do expect you to take it off. By popping him off, you can get this piece off, and you just have the blue tab. And he could walk around. That would be kind of stupid, but you kind of get the idea there. He is not going to have a lot of mobility, a lot of functionality once that robe is on him. He does have the Jean-Claude Van Damme. This does get in the way. No pinless joints. All right. Or I'm sorry, pinless joints, but no double joints. So you get just your 90 degree turn right there. Your ankle rockers. You look at the feet. Again, those look really awesome. Look at the way his the skin has just kind of deteriorated on this guy, and you can see the muscles right through it, and that is really disgusting and awesome all at the same time. And anyone that's ever trained calves knows those are some nice calves, but oh, to have it start to rip through on your calf, oof, that sounds like pain. But the detail on this is amazing. I mean, look at that. So yeah, it'd be awful to hide all of this and never take a look at it. Look at the structure on the arms. All right. I'm going to keep it on the right arm. Make sure I don't mix them up. So the detail is really awesome. You can tell that his skin looks to be mummifying. Here we can take a look at the arm. And you can see how it's starting to change. I'm assuming this is probably his death hand. So I said this was a glove. I was completely wrong. Alright. And we'll be able to swap those out, obviously. And on this hand, you can see some decaying right there also. At least what I think is decaying. I mean, I might be completely wrong. So let's pop this guy back together. And oh, this is going to be... That goes on after. Oh boy. Well, I know this was on that side, so this thing now is going to slide straight up like this. Alright. So that was actually pretty easy. Getting the arms off was not easy. They do have a lot of pressure on it, and that's kind of what makes me fear this. Now that's his hood, which means this has to go on. The wire actually started to pop through there. Don't like that. And that's going to go over. So we can get this back on first. Let's make sure we get the right arms on. That should be for this side. Maybe. There we go. Now while you're waiting, please take a second. If you haven't yet, hit that like button. And again, if you're wondering why I'm taking my time doing this like this and showing you rather than just quickly reviewing the figure and saying, hey, this is what he does. I want to show you what it's like if you've never had a figure, if you're getting in the line, or maybe you're wondering, maybe you got him and you just don't even know because you've heard all this stuff and you're like, I don't know what to do. You've come across this review, this channel, and now you're like, all right, this makes a little bit more sense to me just because now I understand what they're trying to do. We can pop his head back on him, get his hands, there we go, or his arms, which came off easier than anything. Now, there is a lot of posability there. So even though it is single jointed, no issues. That goes on almost as much as a G.I. Joe Classified. So definitely cannot complain about that. All right. Come on. Really small arms with big joints. As I mentioned before, this is a really cheap table. So if I move it too much, everything starts to shake and fall. All right, so here we go. Now we can, so that's how the hood goes. So this is all, so this is wired behind him. The two pieces that hang off are not wired. And then we hang this over. Is that right? Man, I have no clue. I have no clue. I might have to go check out someone else's review of the old figures. All right. So the arm went through here. Right? Nope. I'm only laughing because if you don't laugh at yourself, you don't laugh at what you're doing, it's going to be a long, long time for you. It has to go that way because that is, you can see everything right there. Thank you guys all for being so patient here. But the hood goes here. Look, he's even like, I don't know, dude. You're the one that decided to do this, and I didn't tell you to. Because if I remember correctly, that's why I said the one arm won't move all that well. Or maybe it's supposed to go across the body. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe. Now this is just kind of fun. Now this is just kind of fun. Please let me know if you stayed this whole time and you're like, what the hell is this moron doing? Does it go like that? Hell no, it doesn't. That's even stupider, Lawrence. Is he like that? No. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, you kind of get the idea. Or not. We're going to stop this. And I'm going to figure out how this thing goes back together. And I'm not going to make you guys sit around and wait for that. All right, I'm back. I figured it out. And my, what I would say to you is just don't take the robe off, or make sure you document it. Basically, this arm had to be in the up position when you put the robe back on, and even looking at it, it was a pain in the ass to get it to go back. So anyway, we got to take a look at the articulation on this figure, so you can kind of see how he goes. I would just say you're not really going to display him probably without the robe, so don't even bother. I just wanted to show you the detail. If I would have realized it was going to be this difficult, I probably would have done it off camera. But at least now you know, and that's really the whole purpose of what I'm doing when I'm showing you. So anyway, we can pop off this hand here, and since he does have what is a knife hand, I guess you could say, kind of throw this knife in it. Spend all the time posing him, getting him to stand up, and then I just hang him right back down. So these do have to hang over. Again, the back one here, it is wired so you can move it along with these pieces, so you can make it so he is kind of flowing through this masquerade ball that he is now at. So again, I think it does look good. You know what I want to do really quickly? I want to pop his head off here. His head does come off real easy. I'm going to throw this one on. So this came with the Jacob Marley. And oh, that's a really, man, that is a tight fit. Like, I feel like it's going to break. And the chain came off. Well, wasn't expecting that. So maybe you want to change his head. Maybe you bought these two, and that is actually pretty intimidating itself right there. Although I liked it with the chain on it, although I saw that there's a break in the link, so yay, fun for me to get that one back on. Like dealing with one of my daughter's little chains that she has, and she's like, hey Dad, can you, oh, actually this whole piece is, that's the other one. Well, that sucks. Because if I did pull that, that broke pretty easily. Oh well. Have to go back and watch the video. I'm not going to complain to them if I don't know that it wasn't broken, if I was the one that broke it. Anyway, I think that actually looks pretty daunting itself. Big chain hanging down, this evil mask. Although he cannot turn his head. That thing is tight. I'm scared I'm going to break that ball joint off. So there you go. That is your... That comes off real easy. So then, anyway, that is your Figura Obscura Masque of the Red Death. Again, this is the retailer exclusive. And the original one came with a red robe, which I'll be 100% honest, I probably like that one a little bit more. But I didn't get it. So I had to settle for this one. And of course, there's nothing wrong with this one. Although, I'm not super high on this figure. I like this Jacob Marley a lot more. There you go. Let's wrap this up. Alright, so there you go. That is the Masque of the Red Death. This was a total shit show of a review. It happens sometimes. I think it's been a while since I've had one that is this effed up. Although the Jacob Marley may have been pretty bad. For the people that missed it, go back and watch it. For the people that saw it, I apologize. Anyway, I don't know. Again, this is just my review. You don't have to watch my reviews. I don't watch anyone's reviews. We do this for the fun of it. And anyway, here you go. Thank you for sticking around for this long. But I think the figure looks amazing. I do think there are some things that are problematic about it. And you'll probably never hear a Four Horsemen fan say anything negative because they really don't. They were not really objective. And this because normally these things are absolutely amazing. But I do think his head comes off maybe a little too easy. He's really stiff. And figuring out how his cloth, how everything goes back on now. It'd be one thing if they said, hey, you know what, that thing's not to come off. But they're supposed to be modular. They're meant to swap around. It's going to take a little bit of work, but I got to say his joints are really stiff. And I really do think that if you're going to make the arms come off, there should be a little bit easier way, especially using cloth. When you're heating up, I don't suggest using a heat gun. A lot of people do. That could easily warp your figures if you leave it on too much. A hair dryer, it's really hard to get everything evenly. That's why I do the hot water. But other than that, I think it's a pretty good figure. The clock looks amazing. That's what I really wanted, to be 100% honest. I know someone's going to say, hey, I could have 3D printed you one. You could have found one on eBay. I wanted this one, and I did like the figure. It'll go really good when it comes time for Halloween and just being with your other Figura Obscura. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I wasted way too much of your time, but I definitely do appreciate it because it means a lot to the channel, to myself. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. But before I do, please take a second. You've stayed this long, and if you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop a Figura Obscura. Now I'm going to get out of here, but don't go anywhere. Right up here, I'm going to leave another Four Horsemen review that I've done, and down here will be a playlist of all the Four Horsemen figures that I have reviewed. Take care.